everyone, welcome to another episode of Talking with series. And today I have again a very special guest. She is a very good friend of mine. She is a GitHub star, a Microsoft MVP, and a lots more. So you might know already. So let me call on Gift. So hey Gift, hi, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very glad to be on your channel. Um Hi everyone. I'm Gift Egwuenu. I currently work as a developer advocate at Cloudflare. Like Anuradha mentioned, we've been friends from like a while now. Uh Dating back to my experience, I've been a developer, front-end developer for 5 years, and now I transitioned to being a developer advocate just recently, like last month. And yeah, we might probably talk about that more, but yeah.
Thank you for this nice introduction. And yeah, first of all, congratulations for the new role. I'm so excited for your new role.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
can't wait to see what all you achieve in your this new role. Okay, so you shared that you are a developer, right? Like you have been doing development for a while now. So I was curious to know, how did your journey into development started? Did you do computer science or something like that?
Yeah, interesting. I get asked this question a lot. And the thing is, I actually have like a history like in computer science. So I did computer science in my degree. And before that, I was also very like I loved computers. Like I was the one that would go and play hours and hours, spend hours and hours on the computer just trying to figure out stuff. So I think from my early age, like primary, secondary education, I was always interested, and it really makes sense that I ended up doing it as a career. Yeah.
That's nice. I mean, yeah. How did you like? What did you use first to learn? Apart from the languages which were taught in the
Mhm.
college. Like for example, me, I started using W3 schools and so on first, and then I got introduced to HTML and all. So you do web development. So what was the first resource that you remember which you started learning from?
Yeah, for me, it was also like that. But actually, for me, it was reading PDFs. So at the time when I was in school and I was learning, I would download like resources that are like PDFs. There is one specific one you mentioned that I also use W3 schools. There is another one that I cannot really remember right now. But yeah, those were like my early days. Resources. And then later I found Free Code Camp, which was also very helpful for me at the start. But yeah, there's also MDN, right? That's like my holy grail for anything web development. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, when I got to know about Free Quad Camp, it was also a very nice resource, which I now recommend to everyone because yeah, it's definitely a great resource.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of open source. Like when did you get started with open source? How did you got into it? You know?
Interesting. My first introduction to open source was when I tried contributing to one of my friends' GitHub repos. And to be honest, when I tried to do that, I had no idea what pull request was. I had no idea. I was just learning how to use Git, but I came across his repo. He does a lot of open source libraries. He created a lot of open source libraries then, and I found like a typo in the README, and I was like, oh, this is something I could actually change. And at the time, I was learning how Git works, how does GitHub work, and I just created my account. So I felt like that was the first good first issue to tackle. So I first of all messaged him and I was like, hey, I saw this, I would like to correct it. And he said, sure, go ahead. And that was when I cloned the repo, made the change, created a pull request. And I remember him telling me, oh no, you have to rebase. I'm like, what's rebase? Because apparently he had already changes on his own. So I had to make sure my clone was up to date. So that was like my first ever contribution, and I thought it was a nice thing to do. So I just started looking out for other projects that I'll be interested in contributing to, also making my own as well. Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, yeah, everyone starts somewhere small, and from learning GitHub to becoming a GitHub star today, like, it's awesome journey for you.
Yeah, that's interesting story. Yeah.
So, just building upon the previous question, like, yeah, I mean, everyone starts, like, lots of people start, but not everyone keeps going. So, what's your motivation of keep going and keep contributing to the open source and the technical community?
Yeah. For me, personally, I like to see it as a way of like giving back or contributing back, right? Because I know that even till now, to be honest, a lot of the things that I consume were created by other people, right? So I have this sense of, hey, if you gain something, you should also try to return the favor, right? So, and I know that by contributing, right now, I contribute more of educational resources than actual creating libraries. And I know that a lot of the things that I'm creating helps people, so that kind of keeps me going. For example, when somebody reaches out and say, "Hey, Gift, I read your article. It helped me solve this problem," that's something that just keeps you going. Like you're like, "Oh, I could actually do more. I could actually create more stuff that would help more people." So yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's such nice, because definitely that's the biggest motivation when you see that whatever we are doing is helping someone. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
that is definitely fulfilling in itself. So, and I
exactly.
see like you are creating so much good stuff and it's really helping a lot of people. So yes, for sure. So as we discussed earlier, right, that you recently started as a developer advocate at Cloud.
Yeah,
You have been like a while doing a work which is some of the responsibilities of developer advocate, which I would say, right? Like you have always been doing such stuff. So, uh, what do you expect from this role, right? What is your expectation from this role going forward?
yeah. I know every time I think about it that this is now my new job, it feels very unreal. Like I get to do it like full time. Expectations in the role would be to help my company, in this case, Cloudflare, advocate for some of our products and also advocate for the developers that are using it, right? So my role would be like to help more developers to come adopt our platform and also help them be on their way to creating something valuable, like not just like saying, hey, we have this tool, you should definitely use it, but also like help them from like adoption to using it for like their everyday tasks. So expectation would be to work with developers hand in hand, developers in the community, and help them, solve their problems.
That's so nice. Yeah. So, how were your like first few weeks at Cloudflare?
It was very nice. Like, I've been having like a very good time. My first weeks were involved like a lot of onboarding, as it should typically be when you join a new team. Getting to meet everybody on the team, introductions, getting to get familiar with what everybody's working on and all. So that's what I spent like my first few weeks doing.
Okay, yeah, and yeah. So, okay, so let's say that someone who is not very technical, they ask you about this role. That what do you do as per your role at as a developer advocacy? So, what do you what do you say to them? Like, how do you explain it to them?
So the interesting thing is that a lot of people have asked me this question and they're either not aware of what developer advocates do or they're actually not very technical. So I I had to like put pen down like my own very easy to understand explanation that I think people might try to understand. This is what Gift does, and that is my answer would always be that my day-to-day job involves me working with developers and helping them to adopt my company's products. And how I do that could be like through like creating blog posts to explain how to use it, or making videos, or speaking at a conference. Yeah, these are just some of the elements of what developer advocates do for their day to day. And I hope that, yeah, by explaining that way, they understand it. Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, we are going to see some content on this from you then in future.
definitely.
Okay, so I have seen some of the videos now on developer advocates and all, and there is one very burning question which comes in all the discussions, right? How does performance evaluation or something like that takes
Mhm.
place? Like as a developer advocate, how do you evaluate yourself if you are
Yeah.
performing well or so? So, and if you are contributing well to your job. So, I mean, what do you have? Do you have a notion of it?
Yeah. Actually, I had to also like do my own dig deeper into this topic. So it's not just, I know that it's on a lot of people's mind. How do you measure impact? How do you know you're providing value to your team or company? I think it varies and it's also very hard to measure, because metrics, some there are different types of metrics, right? There are also like developer relations is a very wide um area of tech, right? There are different sections, and the expectation wise, the company expects different things from them, right? So you can't really quantify that this person as a developer advocate would also be bringing the same value as the other person, maybe doing community management or something. So I think right now there is no one way of measuring your impact or your influence or performance in your team. But I think what works is, as an individual, like if you're working as a developer advocate or you're working as a developer experience engineer, for example, I think the value you should be focused on is how your goals aligns with the company's goals. Like what you're doing, is it creating value for your company, right? Is also another aspect that I like to look at is what you're doing, is it also creating value and impact for the developer community using your products, right? So when you start thinking about it that way, so for example, if you're thinking of like creating a resource that would help developers onboard into your developers, your company's platform, you should be thinking of, will this be really helpful? Like, will this engage developers to start using the product? And there are also things like vanity metrics. You might spend your time like gathering vanity metrics. And what's vanity metrics? They are metrics that actually look good on paper, but they don't really add value to the business. For example, the number of Twitter followers you have, number of views that your posts have, the number of GitHub stars that the platform has, things like that. They are useful, but if you go back to what I said earlier, are they aligned with the companies? Like, do they provide value for the company in a way? Maybe not. And in that regard, I like to think that another way you can actually measure impact on your team is by checking for example, the monthly active users of your platform. Like if you can track how many people are coming back to use this thing and they are actually going from like first time user to everyday user, I think that provides more value and impact. And then if you're focused on, bringing developers in, making sure that they are onboarded very well and they keep using the product, I think for me that's like value that you've provided to the company. So yeah, it varies. Yeah.
Thank you for explaining it so nicely. I'm sure audience will also get to understand about this little better after this.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, can you like? I'm not sure if you can talk about this, but which product will you be working? Like, which product you are focused on inside Cloudflare?
Sure. I can speak on that definitely. Cloudflare is like everybody knows Cloudflare. as like one of the biggest, internet security company, but we also like have a developer platform, and one of our products specifically is called Cloudflare Workers and Cloudflare Pages. Now, Cloudflare Pages is like a deployment tool where you can deploy your, static Jamstack website to. It's also very extensive to the point that we now offer like Cloud Pages functions, so you can write serverless functions and deploy it to Cloudflare Pages. And for me specifically, I will be working across the different boards of the different tools we have. There are lots. We have Cloudflare Pages, we have Workers, we have Wrangler, we have Workers KV. There is a lot, right? And my role would involve me like touching on these different bits, but I'm specifically focused on Wrangler 2, which is the CLI tool for using Cloudflare Workers. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, lots of cool products, I guess.
Yep.
I keep seeing your videos on YouTube channel, of course, and just for audience, Gift has a very nice YouTube
Oh my
channel.
God.
So I
Thank
will
you.
drop links in the description. So do go ahead and follow her. She talks about career, tech, and life, and she has very nice content, even if you are a beginner on how to navigate your career and so on. So, Gift, in one of the videos, you also talked about accessibility. So, I mean, accessibility is a topic in which I'm quite interested in always. So,
Mm,
I'm actually interested in knowing how you got started with accessibility. Like, how did you came to know about accessibility?
sure. So this is way back. I don't specifically remember when, but it was like very early. And I remember that I was working on a blog post actually. I was writing a blog post on Vue, and I was also like going to be building like an app to showcase like, hey, this is what I'm building, walk through the demos and all. And then I remember the platform I was writing for, they pitched the idea, would you be interested in exploring accessibility and teaching people about it? And at that point I was like, well, I don't really know what it is. I feel like accessibility, at least at the early stage in people's careers, is, I mean, they know that, oh, this thing exists, but they don't really dig deeper to get to know, like, how can I make my website accessible? What should I be doing? People find that, I think most people don't find it as important as it should be, but I think it should. So I was also one of those people, right? But I was happy to explore accessibility by going ahead to, you know, investigate and do my own research and try to write a blog post about it to teach people, right? So the app that I was building, I tried to use like some accessibility things that I learned to make it accessible. And from there on, I just started to make pointers. For example, if I'm including images, I like to always add my alt tags. Before, I would just leave it empty. So things like that. And I was very interested because I felt like there is a gap there, that a lot of people were not aware of it. And even after writing the article, well, people started asking, hey, Gift, what is this thing? I would like to learn more. And that's how I just kept, sharing resources about accessibility, talking about it, and, writing about it. Yeah. And yeah.
That's yeah, nice, because I mean we don't know everything beforehand, right? We start exploring. So yeah, for me also, I did not know about accessibility at first, but I came across it, and then I realized that okay, I have been doing things wrong my entire life. So yeah, but what I like is that I see that most of the people, like you did, like I did, like once we get to know about accessibility, we try to learn more and make things more accessible. So
Mhm.
this is what it should be there, like consciously taking decisions which will be
Yeah.
better for accessibility, make things more
Exactly.
accessible. So
Yeah.
yeah. So okay, I I want to ask you, like, you talk, like, you give already a lots of tips to newcomers as well as people
Mhm.
already are in tech. So I would like to ask you, what some of the tips that you might have for someone who is beginning their career in this tech world?
Mm. Okay. If you're interested in getting into tech, my advice will always be to share your progress, right? Because I feel like tech is now very seriously saturated. Like there are a lot of people trying to get into tech now. Now, how do you stand out in a pool of like 1,000 people trying to land like one front end developer job? You need to stand out. You need to always share your work. And what I typically advise people do is if you're learning, if you're learning, you can as well try this concept of learning in public, right? You can be sharing like the projects that you're working on, probably share it on like your LinkedIn or your Twitter profile. Just share it so that somebody sees it, like it's visible. So you have to make yourself visible. Also make the work that you're doing visible. If you don't have a GitHub account where you are uploading the projects that you're working on, you should have one because by the time you start applying for jobs, some of these recruiters, that's some of the things that they watch out for. What project has this person worked on? Can I easily search for it? You should also like create like a portfolio. I know this sounds like a lot. You don't have to do them all at once. You can start from somewhere and build up to the point where you have everything. But just something you should know is in order for you to stand out, you need to always like show up and like go one step further by sharing what you're doing. I know it might be uncomfortable, but there's definitely rewards from doing it because personally, I've seen that doing public learning, sharing your work eventually helps you, in your career because then you're no longer in the pool of people. You're already standing out. So you're more visible to opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all your points because even I have personally felt that since I became little more active on Twitter and LinkedIn, and I think yeah, you start getting more opportunities and visibility. So that's definitely there, and we see lots of success stories on Twitter for sure. So yeah, learn in
We are
public.
success stories. We are success stories,
We
sis.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, another question again, maybe similar but more related to a developer advocacy role. If
Mhm.
someone wants to make this transition from development to developer advocacy, so
Mhm.
what suggestions you might have for them, or what tips you might have for them?
Okay. For somebody that is just coming into the role, I would say that kind of similar to the previous advice I gave, right? Also be very visible, right? If you're interested in becoming a DevRel, probably you're already doing something related, like you're already a developer, but you're looking to transition to DevRel. I think in order for you to stand out or stand a chance of getting like that job, you need to be doing some functions of the job. And this could be that you like write articles on your blog or you are very active in community building, like you're building a community in your like local area or something. I think these are like functions of developer advocacy that you already have like experience in because you're doing it probably out of like passion or you just enjoy it. That ties back into like your full-time job. By the time you start applying for roles and they're like asking you, oh, what experience? You don't need to have previous experience, by the way. You don't need to be a developer advocate before to look for a developer advocate job. You can as well be working in tech or be interested but also have like have backing support. Like somebody asks you, why do you want to be a DevRel person? What have you done in the past? You could say, I have a blog where I write articles about so and so specific technology. Like I make YouTube videos, and I've seen this happen a lot where the people that are coming into DevRel are already doing, some of them are already doing like bits and pieces of the actual functions of a developer advocate. And I feel like that would actually help make you successful. Also, I would like to say that it's also okay if you don't do any of these things too. But what helps is that you're interested in doing it, right? Because I know that developer advocacy, DevRel, is like a shiny new role. Everybody wants to get in. But if you're just trying to get in because you see people getting in, well, you might end up being disappointed because the actual job will require you to do these things. So it's good if you already have like previous experience doing it or you're interested in doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the tips. Okay. So, you talk at lots of conferences. So, I was wondering that do you have any conferences lined up for future also, which we should be looking forward to?
Yes, I do, which is also something that I'm very happy about because finally we're going to be having like more in-person conferences, you know. I've done like a lot of online virtual ones, and I'm really looking forward to doing more in person. And the ones that I have lined up for this year are all in person conferences. I think the first one is in June. I'm still working out the actual process, but it's in June. It's called Serverless Paris, Serverless Days Paris. Then there's a different one in September and another one in November. So, and they're all in person conferences. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more of that.
Awesome. That's so exciting, right?
I
Yeah.
know, yeah, it is. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward because like meeting people in person would be nice for a change after so many years of being virtual. Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
So some off tech topics, like
Hmm.
questions. What did you want to become when you were a kid? Because I'm sure that no one wants to become a computer engineer when they are a kid.
Ah, that means you've not met me. Yeah, I think that I did not know at least when I was a kid, I didn't know that there was anything like computer sciences, but I knew that anything that involved computers, that was what I wanted to do. And I know growing up, a lot of people would be, oh, what do you want to be like? What do you want to become in future? They'll be like, I want to become a doctor. I want to become a nurse. I always had to say, I want to become like a typewritist. I don't know, like because back then, what we knew was like typing as, I used to say that I want to become something that has anything that has involves working with computers.
Wow.
That
That's
was
nice. That's
that
nice.
was that was always what I had in my head. And it really made sense that it turned out to be what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
It's interesting because I mean I have met lots of people and nobody wanted to become where they ended up being. So it definitely turned out very nice for you because yeah, you are living what you wanted to become as a kid. Like similar, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. If I had known earlier that there was anything like programming, I'll probably have jumped into it. But I think I learned about programming very later on in my life, like after my education actually. But if I had known earlier, I'm sure that definitely I would have been into it. Yeah.
That's nice. So okay, let's talk about superpowers. So yeah, I mean this is a very fun question. I like it. So if you could have any superpower, what do you think it could be?
Hmm. I mean, I know that I struggle with delegating my small tasks. Like if I could have one superpower, I know it would be able to delegate small tasks like doing dishes or cleaning the house or sending that email. It's funny because I know some people might be thinking, well, gifts you can as well just ask for um making money in your sleep or something. Something very, but yeah, I think I struggle a lot with like delegating. When should I be doing this small tasks. And if I could figure it out without having to do it, yeah, that would be nice. That would be a good superpower.
It's actually nice, because yeah, I would also like this kind of superpower when I'm sitting and my dishes are
That's
done.
done. You
That
don't
would
have
be so
to.
awesome.
Don't have to. Yeah, you just focus on the big stuff. You don't have to think about any of those things like doing groceries. Oh my god, yeah.
Okay. Uh, and okay, so also, like, what do you think currently is your superpower? Like, we have lots of characteristics and something which you feel that it is your superpower and it helps you keep moving towards the right direction.
This question is interesting. I don't know if this makes sense, but I like to think that I have like a very kind soul. Maybe that's something, and I would explain like I I think I am always happy to come in to help in situations where sometimes I feel like should I be doing this, right? But I have that empathy to always help when I can. Now, when I can in asterisks, because sometimes I'm a bit tired. I would probably like to do it, but maybe because I'm short of time or there's not enough time to do it. But I like to think that I have like empathy for helping people. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, that's the best thing because I mean, for me, what I feel is that the world needs more of kindness and empathy and compassion. So, yeah, being a kind soul is definitely something this world needs more.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
yeah, I mean, you really help a lot, and I have feel it for personally because yeah, I mean, you have helped me also a lot. So when I came here, yeah, I mean, I was really scared because I was yeah coming to a new country, but then you were here and you always supported on every aspect, so it was very nice. So yeah, I can definitely say that you are pretty helpful person.
Thank you.
Okay, so Gift, I mean, do you want to also say something which we might have missed in our conversation today?
Mm, I think we covered everything. Maybe I think one thing I would like to add is that I think you have like a very nice background. Showing off your MVPs.
Yeah,
And the
I
funny
can see
thing is,
yours
I
also
also
below
have mine.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see.
Yeah, I think one thing that I get asked about a lot when I join calls is that what's that behind you gift? I think probably you would get the same thing, but yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. I love it so much. That's why. And I
Listen.
just adjusted my camera because the trophy was not showing properly. So yeah, it's something I'm proud of.
Same. My hair is always blocking my, but at least you see
You should keep it somewhere like
side, right? Like
sideways so we can still
visible.
see. Yeah, because you also have this nice GitHub star, which should also be like yeah, shine.
Visible. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think I have anything to add. I enjoyed our conversation today, and I'm very happy that we finally did it because I know that we'll be moving it a lot. But I'm glad we did it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, also always we have been planning this video for like maybe like half a month now.
Yep.
But maybe it was just waiting for a nice day or maybe for my bad hair day, but whatever.
We're both having that day, but anyway, it was nice. Thank you so much for inviting me and rather. Maybe
Thank you
next
so
time
much.
you're going to come to my channel the next time. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for like coming here today. It's always a delight to talk to you, and yeah, it's so much fun. And for the audience, again, she has a very nice YouTube channel. So do go ahead and subscribe to it and also follow her on Twitter, where she always keeps sharing lots of good stuff. And also, if you are interested in learning more about Cloudflare products, right? Because
Yeah.
they are really awesome. So do go check it out. And I will put out the links below. Thank you so much once again, Gift, for taking time to come to my channel.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Have
Thank
a
you.
nice day. Bye.
You too. Bye.